It's a Tuesday night. Not special, not dramatic. Just another day that feels exactly like the last one. You're standing in a gas station, fluorescent lights buzzing above you, holding a bag of chips and a cheap drink. You just got off a 10-hour shift. Your back hurts. Your feet hurt. You don't feel like cooking, but eating out isn't even an option anymore. It hasn't been for months. Your rent went up again in January, no explanation, just a number you can't argue with. Your car needs new brakes, but new brakes cost $400, so instead of fixing it, you just press harder and hope nothing goes wrong. You check your bank account again. $263. It's the 19th. You already know the math before you even look. Every purchase has become a calculation. Chips, $4.29. Drink, $2.19. You pause for a second, then nod to yourself. Yeah, you can afford that. Barely. Behind the counter, there's a screen flashing the lottery jackpot. $400 million. You don't usually play. You tell yourself it's a tax on people who are bad at math. But tonight, something feels different. Not hope. No, hope is too clean. This feels desperate. It's like drowning. And someone throws you a rope that's obviously too short. But you reach for it anyway. You pull out $2 you shouldn't be spending. You hesitate for a second, then slide it across the counter. Quick pick. The cashier doesn't even look at you. She prints the ticket like it's nothing. Nobody here looks at you. Nobody ever does. You've become invisible in the way broke people become invisible. You fold the ticket and slide it into your wallet, between a gas receipt and an old gift card that probably has nothing left on it. Then you forget about it. Completely. You go home. Same apartment. Same leak in the ceiling your landlord still hasn't fixed. You sit on your couch eating chips, watching a show you've already seen twice, because you cancelled every streaming service except one. At some point, you fall asleep. TV still on. Lights still on. The ticket sits on your kitchen counter all night. It doesn't know what it is yet, and neither do you. 2 days later, you're sitting on that same couch scrolling your phone. Nothing special, just killing time. Then you see the numbers. You look at your phone, you look at your ticket, back to your phone, back to the ticket. Your hands start shaking, your vision tightens, everything narrows into a tunnel, and at the end of that tunnel, 6 numbers. All 6 match. You don't scream, you don't jump, you don't celebrate. You just sit there, completely still, because your brain is trying to process something it has never processed before. A number so big, it doesn't feel real. $412 million. You say it out loud. It sounds fake. Like something from a movie. You are holding a piece of paper worth more than you could earn in 10,000 years doing your current job. That night, you don't sleep. You lie in bed staring at the ceiling, running calculations you're not qualified to run. You hide the ticket in a book. Then you move it to a Ziploc bag in the freezer. Then you take it out, put it in your glove box, bring it back inside again. You've never been afraid of losing a piece of paper before. Now it's the only thing that matters. The next morning, you call in sick. Then you Google what to do if you win the lottery. First result, get a lawyer. Second, don't tell anyone. Third, a list of winners who went broke, got killed, or killed themselves. You close the browser. You sit in your kitchen. You're a millionaire, and you're afraid to leave the house. The first thing you learn is that winning the lottery is not the same as getting the money. Not even close. The ticket is real, the numbers matched, the jackpot exists, but between that moment on your couch and the money actually reaching you, there's a world you've never been inside before. A world of attorneys, tax structures, trusts, paperwork, legal exposure, and 1,000 ways your life can be destroyed before the check ever clears. You need a lawyer. Not your cousin who handles house closings. Not the guy from the giant billboard on the highway promising to fight for injury victims. Not somebody who knows finance. You need a very specific kind of attorney, someone who works with estates, trusts, asset protection, high net worth structures. A person who deals with people who have too much money to survive making ordinary mistakes. You find one in the city. His office is on the 22nd floor of a building you've never even been inside before. The lobby smells expensive. The furniture is the kind of furniture nobody actually uses. There's art on the walls that looks like it exists to reassure rich people that they're in the right place. His receptionist offers you water in a glass bottle that probably costs more than the lunch you were going to pack for work. He charges $600 an hour. 2 weeks ago, that number would have made you physically tense. You would have heard it and immediately started calculating what that means in shifts, in rent, in groceries, in overdue car repairs. But now? Now the number floats past you. Not because it's small, because your brain has completely lost contact with scale. You sign the retainer, and then he starts talking. Fast, calm, clinical, revocable trusts, irrevocable trusts, LLC structures, blind trusts, charitable remainder trusts, family limited partnerships. He draws diagrams on a whiteboard while talking in a language that is technically English but may as well be encrypted. You sit there nodding like you understand, because stopping him every 15 seconds to say, "I have no idea what any of that means," would somehow feel worse. Realistically, you understand maybe 30% of it. But the 30% you do understand is enough to terrify you. If you walk into the lottery offices yourself, your life is over. Your name becomes public record in most states. That means reporters, cameras, strangers on your lawn, people from high school, people you haven't spoken to in 15 years, people who remember you just well enough to need something now. The attorney says this without drama, without exaggeration, like he's discussing weather patterns. To him, this is normal. To you, it feels like hearing that your house is built on a sinkhole. So he creates a trust. The trust claims the money. The trust becomes the thing the public sees. Your name stays out of the first wave, at least if this goes correctly. That phrase, "if this goes correctly," lodges in your chest and stays there. Then comes the claim itself. You go to the Lottery Commission office with your attorney, and somehow the building is almost insulting in how ordinary it looks. After all of this fear, all of this scale, all of this panic, the place itself is drop-ceiling tiles, government carpet, flat lighting, beige walls. It looks like the kind of office where people renew licenses and complain about parking permits. A woman behind a desk scans your ticket. Her face barely changes. That does something strange to you. For the last 48 hours, your brain has been treating this ticket like an explosive device, like a sacred object, like a portal into another reality. And to her, it's paperwork. She's seen winners before, maybe not often, but enough that your life-changing moment is still just part of her job. You fill out forms for 2 hours. Initial here, sign here, confirm identity here, choose payout structure here. You take the lump sum. Everyone takes the lump sum. The giant public jackpot number was never the real number anyway. $412 million turns into around $260 million after the lump sum adjustment. Then federal taxes take 37%. State taxes take another 6 to 8% depending on where you live. And by the time the number finishes being carved apart by reality, your $412 million is roughly $118 million. Your attorney warned you. He told you this would happen. He explained the mechanics. You were intellectually prepared. Emotionally, not even close. Because now you're sitting there feeling angry about losing $294 million that you never actually possessed in any usable way. You are upset about only having $118 million, and that is the first sign that the money is already changing your brain. It took less than a week. The money hits your account, and for a few seconds you actually think the banking app glitched. The number doesn't look real. It looks like a typo, like somebody accidentally leaned on the zero key too long. Even after everything, the lawyer, the trust, the forms, the tax shock, your brain still isn't ready for what that kind of number looks like when it belongs to you. It's no longer abstract. It's there, on your screen, in your name, even if technically hidden behind legal structures. And the second that happens, your life changes again. Because now the money isn't just real to you. It's real to other people. You told 3 people, your mother, your brother, your best friend. That felt reasonable. Responsible even. They're family. They're safe. They care about you. You made them promise not to tell anyone. You genuinely believed that promise meant something. But money moves through people faster than gossip, and gossip already moves at the speed of panic. Your mother tells her sister. Of course she does. Maybe because she's overwhelmed. Maybe because joy needs somewhere to go. Her sister tells her church group. Your brother tells his wife. His wife posts something vague online about blessings and abundance that might as well be a press release with your account balance in the subject line. Your best friend tells no one. You notice that. You remember that. It will matter later. Your phone starts ringing. Unknown numbers first, then familiar names you haven't seen in years. A cousin you met once at a funeral, an ex from 7 years ago, a guy from high school who suddenly remembers how close you used to be, a co-worker's husband who has a crazy opportunity he just knows you'll understand. The pattern becomes clear almost immediately. Everyone opens the conversation the same way. Congratulations, I'm so happy for you. You deserve this. And then the pause. That pause becomes one of the most recognizable sounds in your new life, because behind it is expectation, a waiting room built out of greed, pain, need, entitlement, desperation, and opportunism. Some people wait for you to offer, some don't bother waiting at all. Can you help me with my loans? My mum's surgery isn't covered. I just need $30,000 to get back on my feet. You should invest in my restaurant. You could change my life. And some of those requests are legitimate. That's what makes it worse. Some are shameless, some are heartbreaking, some are manipulative, some are real emergencies, some are obvious scams wrapped in emotional language. But all of them have the same gravity. All of them now orbit you because you have the money. And once people know you have money, they stop seeing your boundaries as real. You start screening calls, then ignoring them, then changing your number. But the number isn't the real problem. The problem is that every interaction is now contaminated by possibility. You go to the bar you always go to on Friday nights, and the bartender smiles differently, too carefully, too politely, like you're no longer a regular, just a high-value customer. The guys at the pool table glance at you and you can practically see the calculation happening behind their eyes. You leave early, you don't go back. The mail gets worse. Handwritten letters from strangers, full stories, cancer, fires, debt, surgeries, evictions, building funds, mission trips, scholarships, emergencies. Some letters are so sincere they feel like punches. Others are so polished they clearly came from someone who's done this before. A church you've never attended sends a brochure with a handwritten note saying God put you in a position to help. You read every letter because you can't stop yourself, and every letter creates the same wound. If you throw it away, you feel guilty. If you keep it, you feel crushed. You were the same person a month ago, same brain, same body, same history. But nobody believes that anymore. Not them. Not really you, either. At some point the fear fades just enough, and something else takes its place. Permission. Not logical permission. Emotional permission. The kind that builds slowly, quietly, until one day you wake up and realize you're no longer asking, "Can I afford this?" You're asking, "Why shouldn't I?" So you buy a house, not the house you need, the house you imagined when you were broke, the house you used to scroll through at 2 a.m. telling yourself it was just for fun. 6 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms, a pool you probably won't use, a 3-car garage even though you've never owned more than 1 car at a time, a kitchen bigger than your entire old apartment. The first night, you walk through it alone. Your footsteps echo. That's the first thing you notice. The silence. It's too quiet, too big. Rooms that exist but don't belong to your life. A formal dining room you'll never use. A guest wing that stays empty. You didn't buy a home. You bought a version of a life you thought money would give you. And now that you have it, it feels hollow. But you don't stop. Because stopping would mean thinking. And thinking leads back to that silence. So you keep moving. Cars come next. A Mercedes because that's what success is supposed to look like. A truck because you've always wanted one. An SUV for your mom because now you can. Each purchase feels like progress, like proof, like evidence that the struggle is over. Then clothes, stores where one jacket costs more than your old rent. Watches you don't understand. Furniture that feels like it belongs to someone else's taste, not yours. Art someone told you would appreciate in value. You nod and buy it because now you're the kind of person who buys things like that. You fly first class for the first time. The seat turns into a bed. The flight attendant says your name like it matters. You eat steak at 35,000 feet. You drink champagne that costs more per bottle than your old monthly car payment. And for a moment, it works. You land. A black car is waiting. You stay in hotels where a normal room is $800 a night and the suite is $3,000. You take the suite. You eat at restaurants where the menu doesn't show prices because people who belong there don't need to ask. And every time you tell yourself the same thing. I earned this because you did suffer. You did struggle. You did spend years working jobs that broke your body and drained your mind. And now you finally get to live differently. That's the story you tell yourself. But there's a problem. Earned spending and compulsive spending feel exactly the same. The dopamine hit from buying a $200,000 car lasts about 3 days. Then it becomes normal. Then it becomes background. Then it becomes something you stop noticing. And suddenly, you're looking for the next thing. Each purchase gives you less than the one before, but costs the same, or more. You're chasing a feeling the money promised, but can't actually deliver. And the most dangerous part? It doesn't feel dangerous, because the number in your account is still so large that your brain can't process it shrinking. $200,000 feels like nothing compared to $118 million. A $50,000 weekend feels like pocket change. But the math is working against you, quietly, invisibly. There's a concept you haven't learned yet: lifestyle inflation. Your spending doesn't just rise with your wealth, it rises past it. You're not there yet, but you're already moving in that direction. At some point, someone finally says it out loud. You need to invest. Not spend, not enjoy, not react. Invest. Your attorney introduces you to a wealth management firm. These are people who deal with money professionally, not emotionally, not impulsively. They wear expensive suits, but more importantly, they speak with certainty. They show you charts, historical returns, risk models, diversification strategies. They explain how money, when handled correctly, doesn't just sit. It grows, quietly, predictably. They recommend a portfolio, index funds, bonds, real estate, alternative investments. A system designed not for excitement, but for survival. And then they say something that sounds almost unreal. If you do this right, your $118 million can generate $4 to $5 million a year. Forever. Forever. That word hits differently. It means you don't just win, you stabilize. You create something that doesn't disappear. You build a life where work becomes optional, not temporary. You nod, you agree. You invest part of the money exactly how they recommend. And for a moment, everything looks under control. But then reality creeps back in, not through logic, through people. Your brother-in-law has a restaurant idea. It's passionate, personal. He believes in it. He needs funding. Your old college friend has a tech startup. Big vision, huge potential. He just needs someone who believes in him. A guy you meet at a party tells you about beachfront property in Costa Rica. Incredible returns, exclusive opportunity, limited time. And suddenly, investing stops being about strategy and becomes about saying yes, because saying no feels wrong, because saying yes makes you feel important, needed, powerful in a way that just having money doesn't. So you invest, in all of them. The restaurant closes in 14 months. The startup never launches. The Costa Rica deal wasn't what it seemed. You lose $3.2 million. And what makes it worse isn't the number. It's how avoidable it was. Your wealth managers warned you, quietly, politely, professionally. They saw it coming. You didn't listen. Because somewhere along the way you started believing something dangerous, that having money means you understand money. It doesn't. And you learn that lesson the way most lottery winners learn it, slowly, expensively, and just late enough to matter. At first it feels right, maybe even better than spending, because for the first time since the money came in, you're not chasing a feeling, you're creating one. You start small, logical, close to home. You pay off your mother's house. That moment alone feels worth everything. Watching her realize she'll never have to worry about rent again. That's real. That's clean. That's something money is supposed to do. Then you expand. College funds for your nieces and nephews. Donations to the children's hospital in your hometown. Organizations you've heard of. Causes you believe in. Every check you write feels like you're finally giving the money a purpose. Like you're correcting something, balancing something, and people notice. The local paper writes about you. Headlines about generosity, community impact. You become a good story, the kind of story people like to share, the kind that makes other people feel hopeful. For a moment, it works, but then something shifts, quietly, predictably, and you don't notice it until it's already happening. The requests multiply. At first, it's organizations you recognize, then ones you don't, then ones you've never even heard of. Invitations start showing up. Galas, fundraisers, dinners where the expectation isn't just attendance, it's contribution. You sit at a black tie event next to a woman who runs a homeless shelter. She explains they need $200,000 to stay open through winter. She's not manipulating you, she's not exaggerating, it's real. You can hear it in her voice. So you write the check. That night, without hesitation. The next morning, 3 more requests arrive, because word spreads. Always. And now it's not just organizations, it's individuals, letters, emails, messages, stories, so many stories. A single mother with cancer, a veteran who lost his house, a teenager who needs surgery his family can't afford. Every story is real, every need is real, And here's the part that breaks you. You can help, not theoretically, not emotionally. Actually, you have the ability to change outcomes, to fix problems, to remove suffering from someone's life. And once you realize that, you can't unsee it. So you say yes, again and again and again, until something changes, because helping slowly stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like an obligation. The joy disappears first. That quiet satisfaction you felt when you paid off your mother's house? Gone, replaced by something heavier, guilt. The guilt of not doing enough. The guilt of choosing one story over another. The guilt of knowing that for every person you help, there are 100 more you didn't. You start thinking in numbers again, but not your numbers, their problems, their deadlines, their pain. And then the realization hits. No amount of money can fix the amount of suffering that exists in the world. Not even close. Trying doesn't just drain your bank account, it drains you, emotionally, mentally, completely. So you do what everyone in your position eventually does. You build a system, a foundation, a process, applications, reviews, committees, layers between you and the decision. It becomes efficient, structured, manageable, and cold. You went from writing personal checks to running a machine. 3 years pass, not slowly, not quickly, just differently. Time feels strange when your life no longer has the same structure. No job, no schedule, no urgency, just space. Too much space. You live in a house behind a gate now, a gate that wasn't there before, a gate that represents something you didn't fully understand when you installed it. Separation. You drive cars with tinted windows, not for style, for distance. You eat at private clubs where membership costs more than most people make in a year, places where everyone has money so nobody talks about it, but everyone knows. Your circle shrinks, not dramatically, gradually, quietly. At first it feels like refinement. You're just surrounding yourself with the right people. But then you notice something. The people around you now are either wealthy themselves or paid to be there. Your financial advisor, your lawyer, your accountant, your assistant, your trainer. These are the people you talk to every day, and that realization lands harder than anything before it. Because you trust them, but you trust them because you pay them, and you're not sure you trust anyone you don't pay. Your old friends don't disappear all at once. It happens slowly, subtly. You pay for dinners, trips, drinks, everything. At first they're grateful, then it becomes normal, then it becomes uncomfortable, because how do you split a bill with someone who has $118 million? Eventually, it just becomes easier not to be around you. You didn't change. They didn't change, but the space between you did, and that space becomes permanent. Your brother stops calling. You gave him $500,000 to start a business. It failed. Now he blames you for not giving more. He says you could have saved it. You say you gave him $500,000. Both of you are right, and both of you are hurt. But neither of you says it out loud. So the distance grows, dating becomes complicated. You meet someone, you like them. But the first thought in your head isn't about them, it's, do they know? You go to dinner. She orders the most expensive thing on the menu. Is that just her? Or is that because of you? You can't tell. You meet someone else. 3 dates. Feels real. Feels normal. Then one comment. One slip. Her friend mentions your net worth. And just like that, the entire connection feels staged. You stop dating. You tell yourself it's your choice. But deep down, you know it's not. You start therapy. $400 an hour. Worth it. You sit in a quiet office talking about loneliness to someone you're paying to listen. And one day, it hits you. Everything in your life has become a transaction. Everything has a price, even the things that weren't supposed to. It starts small, like everything else did. One lawsuit. A man claims he slipped on your driveway during a party, says it was unsafe, says you're responsible. He wants $2 million. It sounds ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Your attorney handles it, it goes away, but not for free. $80,000 in legal fees, 6 months of stress, 6 months of thinking about something that shouldn't exist. Then it happens again. Different person, different claim, same outcome. A business partner from one of your failed investments says you owed him more equity, more money, more of something you can't even clearly define anymore. That case drags on for a year. You settle $400,000. Not because he's right, because fighting it would cost more. And that's when you learn something new. This isn't random. This is a system. People with money get targeted. There are lawyers whose entire business model is finding people like you. Building cases just strong enough to survive, and just expensive enough to force a settlement. Your attorney says it casually, "This will happen again." Not maybe, when, you're on a list now, and you never get off it, so you react. Security system, cameras, motion sensors, reinforced doors. A consultant walks through your house pointing out weaknesses you never noticed. Ground floor windows, blind spots, your daily routine. You thought money would remove risk. It didn't. It changed it. You hire security. A man you don't know stands outside your house every day to protect you from other people you don't know. And then the messages start. Emails, no names, no context. "I know where you live." At first you ignore them, then one of them describes your car, your route, the time you leave the house. Your consultant says most threats are fake. Most. That word sticks. You bought a new life, and part of that life is looking over your shoulder every time you walk outside. 5 years later, you sit down with your wealth manager. Annual review, routine, numbers, charts, nothing emotional. Until it is. He says the number once, $41 million. You blink. You ask him to repeat it. $41 million. Your brain doesn't reject it. It freezes. You had $118 million. You've spent $77 million. Not on one thing, on everything. Houses, cars, investments, lawsuits, gifts, donations, lifestyle, taxes on that lifestyle. You ask how. He shows you projections. Calm, clinical. At this rate, you're out of money in 4 years. 4. You don't believe him, because $41 million still feels infinite. But here's the problem. You're not living like someone with $41 million. You're living like someone with $118 million. And those habits don't shrink just because the number does. Your house has costs. Your cars have costs. Your staff has costs. Your foundation has commitments. Your life has a burn rate that could destroy a company. So you try to cut. You sell assets, lose money, fire people, cancel things. But it's too late, because the system you built depends on money you don't have anymore. Then comes the final hit. Taxes. $2.8 million owed. Back taxes. Penalties. Interest. You didn't know. You trusted people. They didn't know either. Or they did and didn't tell you. You fire them. Hire new ones. They find more problems. Foundation mismanagement. Compliance issues. Audit risks. Every layer you open reveals more damage. You didn't build wealth. You built chaos. And now it's collapsing. 8 years later, the money is gone. Not low, not reduced, gone. The last of it disappears into taxes, lawsuits, debts, mistakes, decisions you thought made sense at the time. You sell everything. The house, the cars, the watches, the life, everything you bought with excitement. You sell with desperation. You rent an apartment now, smaller than the one you had before you won. You drive a used car. You work a warehouse job, standing 9 hours a day, sorting packages. Your body hurts more than it used to because you're older now and because you know what you lost. That's the difference. The first time you were broke, you didn't know any better. This time, you do. You know what first class feels like, what luxury feels like, what power feels like, and now you live without it. That memory is its own punishment. Your co-workers don't know. You don't tell them. Sometimes they talk about the lottery, what they'd do if they won. You say nothing. You just keep working. Your mother's house is paid off. That's the one thing you did right. Your brother doesn't talk to you. Your best friend still answers. The only one who never asked for anything. And now, he's the only one left. Sometimes you drive past that gas station. Same lights, same counter, same tickets. People walk in. Buy Hope for $2. You want to stop them. Tell them something. But what would you say? Don't play? They won't listen. Be careful what you wish for. They'd laugh. You'd just be a broke man in a used car talking about money. And maybe that's exactly what you are. Because the truth is, winning the lottery is the easiest part. It's everything that comes after that destroys you.